I hate how they do the longitudes.
Why has the picture not come up, which is normal? What's going on? Excellent connection, but where is the picture? Good afternoon, everybody. This is Gulf Harbour Radio, ZMH 286, Patricia and David, and this is our usual broadcast. As I mentioned yesterday, we are expecting Nigel to arrive shortly, but no sign of him, probably because I forgot to tell him to get off the motorway at Orewa instead of Silverdale, so he will be experiencing the commute traffic. And living up where they do in Kaio, they don't get to experience that. So I guess it's sort of, something that one should experience every now and again to know how nice it is when you don't have to experience it. We've had a lovely day today, 19 degrees at the moment here, 12 to 15 southwest, 1020.8, and it's about 90% cloud cover. But this morning during my walking time, it was very, very pleasant. At Minerva South, which is as far as Rich and Michelle have got, they're fishing because they want to catch one more fish than Christian did on Janella when he went past. They are currently just off South Minerva. They've got 17 knots from the southeast, 2 metre southeast swell. It's overcast there, and 1014. So they will be getting along and getting moving once they've got another fish. And he actually ended his email very abruptly because there was a fish on, but they have been dealing with the odd shark, so who knows what that was. Holly and Dennis on Tango are estimating Marsden on Wednesday. Of course, it's a bit of a long motor job. There are 225 miles to go to Whangarei, and at the position that they reported at, which was about half an hour ago, 3140. I think they're at 3240 now. 17533 east, 173 magnetic course at 5.8 with one of the motors on because one of them's giving a bit of a problem. Southeast to south-southeast, 5 knots, less than 1 metre swell, and 1021.5 on the bar with scattered bits and bobs around. Did I mention what our barometer was? It's 1020.8 and it's steady. But let's see where Morningstar is because they are not too far away. Morningstar, Gulf Harbour.
Gulf Harbour Radio, Patricia, Morningstar, do you copy?
Yep, I've got good copy on you, Scott. Go ahead.
Well, good afternoon, Patricia and David. I'm glad you guys came up. Good to hear you today. Morningstar, we are still trucking along. Position is 31 degrees, 13 minutes south, 174 degrees, 28 minutes east, on a course of 175 degrees true. Speed is 6.5 knots. Wind is southeast 10, maybe gusting 12 occasionally. Swell is southeast 1.0 meters. Cloud cover is about 50%. We're just emerging from the cloud bank that we've been in for the last couple of days and coming out into much clearer skies. Barometer is 1021 and steady. And David was asking yesterday, or thinking yesterday, about whether or not there'd be rain out here. There are some of the scattered clouds do have rain in them. There's quite a bit of kind of local cell activity with breeze coming off it. Otherwise a fairly variable breeze as well, with some big, probably about 45-degree oscillations in them continuing throughout the day. That is the weather for us right here. Great sailing conditions, and we are trucking along, Patricia. So back to you.
Yeah, sounds like a pretty decent day for you and Mary. 3113 south, 17428 east, on a course of 175 true at 6.5 knots. Southeast 10 with the odd maybe up to 12. Southeast 1 metre swell, 50% cloud cover, and you're now sort of getting out of that bank 1021, so not much different from here, which of course doesn't bode much for any more wind. Has David got any comment for you? I'll just pass the microphone.
Yeah, I do, Scott. Thanks for the report, as usual. And the only thing I will mention, I think, of importance is, well, first off, pretty much the same conditions tomorrow, wind-wise, southeast 10 to 12. That's going to be fairly consistent. You're getting into a light air regime, as if you haven't been in one already. The only other thing of interest is I'm looking at the currents, and it looks, your position, it looks like by tomorrow, even now, you might have a favorable current going to the south, coming from the north to the south. Looks like about 0.8 knots. So that'll help with a little bit of a push. And the only other thing, and I mentioned this to Tango earlier, is the swell coming from the southeast, I think you mentioned. You're almost on the axis of where the two wave trains come together, which is probably not nice. But further to the east, or as you get further south, it looks like they may become northeast. So that'll give you a little bit of push and help with less pounding or bouncing or whatever's happening. So yeah, so the currents and sea wave trains, yeah, that's about all I can say. Looking at, appreciate your cloud information, and from what I can see on the modeling for forecasting for clouds, it looks fairly clear tomorrow. Well, from the morning all through lunchtime. Take a look a little bit later. A little bit later, it might you might see some clouds coming over you, and doesn't look much in the way of precipitation. They're definitely not high clouds. That is for sure. I would say that they are probably, oh gosh, I would say less than 10,000 feet, probably more around 5,000 feet. So yeah, they'll just be the typical cloud that you'll see in these high pressure areas. But yeah, I'll talk about this in a minute, so I'll just maybe just hold off on that. But talking about the highs, that whole area that you're in, and anybody else that's in that area, is all basically anticyclonic flow. So that's good news. I mean, there is no threat at all of any depressions, any nasty little things that we thought a week or so ago might happen. So I'll get into that in a minute. So thank you again for the info. Appreciate it.
Okay, I didn't ask what the propagation was like. Did you hear all that, Scott? Over?
Absolutely. Thank you very much, David. And we are seeing that south, I guess, westerly wave train came in earlier today, so we're getting that from both directions, and we have had a really just a persistent countercurrent nearly this entire voyage. So it's we're happy to see that slacking off at some point because it's been kind of a nagging drag on the speed over the ground. And we also last night passed Odyssey on the AIS about I don't know, maybe 2 or so in the morning. So they are out here as well. I don't know if they're listening, but that's they're kind of in the same area. All right, guys. Have a great evening, and back to you there, Patricia.
Yeah. Yes, keeping our eye on things that people are trying to get in before Thanksgiving, I guess. It'll be a rush down to the shop to buy a turkey. We're actually going to have one this year. but we're going to have it a bit earlier, Wednesday probably. All right, there's no sign of Kotanui on tonight, but they are in the Arafura Sea. It's actually really interesting following them and Picasso to a place called Tual, which is in the Aru Islands. My geography of Indonesia is improving. They are currently about halfway between Australia and Papua New Guinea in the Gulf of Carpentaria, so they're not too far away, and the vessel Seahawk is only 130 miles northwest of them. They're up at, Kotanui is at 7 degrees 7 degrees, I'll start that again. They are at 10 degrees 19 and 13951 east, doing 7.5 knots on a course of 298. And there's quite a bit of shipping. I can imagine that they will not be on because it is quite busy in that particular area with the Indonesian fishing boats. Okay, I'm going to pass the microphone now to David to see if he can just cover this before Nigel arrives.
Alrighty, well, this will be quick because I didn't think we were going to be on tonight. But anyway, the big picture, and well, look at the big picture for Wednesday, day after tomorrow. Yeah, that's what I've been looking at. Now, a very small high, about 1025 millibar, is seen just to the west of the top of the North Island. Actually as forecast a few days ago, which was good to see that it is there. And to the east of New Zealand, there's another high, we'll call it high number 2, is out at about 160 west, and central pressure is about 1027, 10227. And by Thursday, high number 1 is still in place, kind of nestled into the curve of New Zealand's North Island. So if you look at the geography of the North Island, you could see how the west side of it has an indent, kind of a curve, and that high is nestled right in that. And high number 2 on Thursday is about 1025 millibar now, and it will move to 170 west. And then we have high number 3, and that's just to high number 2's south, and it's about 1025 millibar. So there we go with 3 high centers, and that's not going to last, but that's what it looks like now. So anyway, high pressure, well, that basically dominates the Southwest Pacific from Oz all the way out to 150 west, out towards French Polynesia. So the isobars between 20 and 30 south pretty much run east to west, a little bit of wobble and so forth. Winds then will be roughly east to southeast, and so that's really not bad for getting to New Zealand if this pattern holds. Now, embedded in this rectangle are scattered cloud with scattered precipitation, as we've heard from Morningstar, and that's just very, very common due to the temperature differentials between the sea and the air. So the warm air from the sea just rises, and as it does so, makes cloud. Now, as Patricia said, as Pogean mucks about South Minerva catching fish, the winds are going to strengthen tomorrow out of the east about 20 knots, and I think higher gusts. And Wednesday about the same, and possibly rain and thunderstorms. So this we actually projected almost a week ago. So it's kind of heartening to see that that actually came true. Anyway, also on Wednesday, to the southwest of Viti Levu, cyclonic circulation is picked up by EC with trough activity from there to just about Tonga. However, rumline from Minerva to New Zealand winds, like I said, east to southeast, so it's a pretty nice run to New Zealand. So an ETA of 2 December, I just picked that number, 2 December, winds approaching New Zealand appear to be northeast and very light. And these are coming from the western side of high number 2. So there we go. That's the basic picture. Things for arrival look pretty good. I'm not sure if Morningstar gave us an ETA or not. If Scott, if you want to give us an ETA, I can give you more detailed information on what it's going to be right around New Zealand, and I can do that for tomorrow if you want. So think about the ETA, and well, maybe you have thought about it. So I'll turn it over to Morningstar if you're still on, and have you come up with an ETA. Over.
Yeah, David, Morningstar here. The ETA is looking like Thursday morning, most likely. It really depends on how light it gets over the next day or so, and when we need to finally motor and how patient we are. But we're looking at about Thursday morning. Over.
Alrighty, that's great. I will then look at that in more detail, and when we talk to you tomorrow night, hopefully I'll have some data for you that will be favorable. So we'll see what happens. All right, here's the chief.
And here's Nigel. So that was good timing, everybody. Thank you very much. I'll just check, is anybody wanting to join us? I know some of you are using that WinLink, the ZL1 SEA station. Is anyone wanting to say hello to Nigel while he's here? Please call now. No, all is peaceful and quiet, so we'll get to work here, and we'll be back again, of course. I know everything is going to be working perfectly tomorrow, so we'll be back again tomorrow. Cheers, everybody. Our Gulf Harbour radio is clear, and the frequency is yours if you want it.